That's pretty fucked up that Existence is going to place above Moscow 5 and eSahara.
Well, you can't say they don't deserve to be placed above eSahara now.
And basically, eSahara has just fucked up Moscow 5's tournament completely.
Okay, I think we're back up now.
So okay, let's just look ahead to Existence versus fnatic in the next round on Nuke, which is the next match we're going to cast. We think. Like, what do you think of that matchup?
To be honest, I'm a little afraid that it might end up being a very, very boring game. Fnatic was like, even though
is it the map that makes you say that more than just the fact that it's Fnatic?
Well, it's a little bit of both. It was Nuke, right?
Yep.
Nuke has never been a strong map for Existence or Spanish teams in general. So, and it's always been a very strong map for Swedish teams. So that already makes it sound like it might not be a very good game. And then on top of that, Fnatic started catching up pretty nicely against SK despite going down 15-5 early. And had Gux actually been putting up just like a little bit of numbers, it could have been a very good game. We've already seen Fnatic play against a couple of weaker teams on Nuke earlier on this tournament, and I really do feel like they probably will get a fairly easy win here. Let's just hope that they're not going to wait until ESC match is going to start at the same time, because I think that would be way too much to wait now, considering how early the matches are going to start tomorrow.
And plus Pain versus Delta hasn't even started apparently.
Yep. I don't understand how these matches can take so long to start. Like, are they really just playing one at a time?
It's the same thing every day as well. It's always before the first game even begins that they have this huge fucking delay. It's so stupid because it's like you always think every day, oh well, the schedule allows for it. But it always adds up to you because then every little thing that goes wrong is like 10 minutes more. And as soon as you get like 2 hours out of whack halfway through the day, you already know you're never going to catch up and it's going to be a ridiculous day. Like, we've seen it at a million tournaments in a row now. Which is annoying because I actually thought that GameGune had quite... Like, their schedule on paper looked really nice because it's spread over 3 days. Once you get to the playoffs, you're not actually playing a million games because you're only playing one map at a time. So in theory, you really should be able to just put game after game on in the playoffs and get through at a good pace, you know.
You know, one thing that I do notice with these tournaments is tournaments where I do feel like it's bigger problem in like Central Europe and like not so much. Well, it always depends on the admin crew, but the GameGune is like, I feel like it's like a really friendly atmosphere where like I feel like the admins probably would rather try to be friendly with the players than be complaining at them all the time, and that is just really not how it's gonna work. Because if a match is supposed to start and an admin just goes up to them and says, oh guys, you gotta go live, but then the player just says, oh, I'm gonna need 30 more minutes, that's just not how it works. Like, you can't do that. That's gonna cause major delay, and then once you let one team do that, you basically have to let others do that too.
And now you're also putting people in a situation where, I mean, at least Fnatic, it's possible they could start their game and finish it soon. But for ESC, they could be waiting like another hour and a half still before they even start their game. So that means they're going to be... Are you going to go somewhere?
No, I was gonna say, I'm just afraid that they're gonna make Fnatic wait until the same time. No, it says 2:30 now, so 15 minutes from now for the Existence game. So let's hope it really does start then.
Well, anyway, what happens is, let's assume Fnatic are going to win, and then let's assume ESC are going to win. That means that ESC have a choice. Like, we're going to play Fnatic on train tomorrow, so we can just go to bed and actually get like 7 hours sleep, or we can like stay up for an hour and do some tactics or watch some demos and get like 6 hours sleep. So it's like you should never be putting the players in a position like that, because you don't want to wake up tomorrow and like lose early and then feel like, oh fuck, I wish we'd just done like an hour's tactics. But at the same time, you need to get enough sleep after all the shit that's gone on today, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And it also gives certain players like just an out to complain and be like, oh, that's the reason we lost. Whereas really, the only reason they can say they lost is like they didn't play well enough.
Yep. At the same
Although
time, though,
that
people...
has actually become an element, you know, in tournament Counter-Strike now, is like almost an endurance factor. And like who can retain their focus and who can not like burn out.
Yeah. One thing I was gonna say too is like, you know, the problem with people blaming like bad schedules or having to play late and all these other factors for their losses is that you're never really gonna learn. If like you lose a match, you're just gonna be like, oh well, I mean, like if I wasn't so tired, we probably would have hit a couple more shots and won. But that's not really the reason you lost anyways.
Plus, you have to realize, even if someone else doesn't have the identical circumstances to you, which might be inhibiting you, no one is having a flawless tournament. No one has got like the maximum amount of sleep. They've had as much practice. They had their meal at the right time. They haven't had any stressful games. Everyone's got something going on. So you can. It usually is the people who are a little bit insecure or like mentally weaker who use those excuses. Whereas the really, really good players, I mean, you know from your personal experience, there's players who are so good and are so confident in their play and so comfortable after so many years of experience that even if they're somewhere where the sensitivity is like fucked up or they can't get their mouse perfect, they can still just like block it out and play a good game, you know, and don't have to say anything afterwards.
Karn wants you off the stream.
And why does it say Sam Matthews?
So Karn retweeted it.
Who gives a fuck? To be fair,
hey
what
Karn,
has that guy
Karn, we want you to learn how to change your keyboard language and Steam language back to English so the Russians can use whatever language they want.
Yeah, exactly. I think Khan should have to learn acrylic before he's allowed to like criticize Russian people. Hey, did you hear that fnatic wouldn't release Delpan from his contract?
They released him?
No, it's a joke. Here's the question part. Oh. Did you hear that fnatic? Here's the question. Did you hear that fnatic would not release Delpan from his contract?
Yes, I did.
The answer's supposed to be no. It's a joke. Did you hear that fnatic would not release Delpan from his contract?
No.
It turns out they wanted to have a player playing in the major finals this year. Ho!
Okay, that was worth the setup, even if it took me 3 tries.
Yeah.
Tries to actually get that right.
It's okay, but the effect was still there when we got it on.
Oh, it was. Karn also says he feels a bit nostalgic being in this seat since he has won GameGune 3 times from the loser bracket. I was actually watching one of those finals with Mr. 16-0 is just for fuck's sake, Taz, and I remember him, it was like him and Neo sitting next to me, and I remember them just saying every single round Fnatic wins is because of Forest, and them just like watching Forest and being like, this is retarded, this game is broken. I think that was around the time when Forest was probably carrying them the most too.
Well, the other thing as well that's worth mentioning is that when people first started crouch hopping, even though every single pro was like, well, I could do it if I wanted to, it was like immediately obvious that there was like a handful of people who were just like ridiculously good at it. And Forrest was almost immediately one where like his movement was like ridiculous compared to most people. So when you combined his like proficiency with like switching style and like bursting, he like had a maybe like a 6-month period where he had like a huge advantage on a lot of like the just good players, you know. Whereas now I think loads of people have caught up, and there's so many other players, especially all the really good players who are like on a similar level. Not as good, because he always has that little extra spark, but still like enough to make it a very small edge.
Yeah.
Plus, I like the way we're supposed to get off a stream that like I actually set up essentially. That like wouldn't exist if I hadn't set it up. I mean, I guess everyone could go over to the fnatic stream. Oh wait, that doesn't exist. Hope! Listen, Sam Matthews, you game, we stream. I'm actually bored as fuck right now.
Yeah, me too.
And the problem is this game isn't particularly making me feel like it's gonna bring me out of that lull.
Yep.
Although I have to say, with the way eSahara was playing, I'm actually kind of glad Existence did win the game, because if eSahara had somehow pulled it out really narrow, it would have kind of felt a bit cheap, you know.
Yeah. If anything, at least that should motivate Existence a little bit, but Miliku I really played under par this entire tournament. And people actually connecting to the server, it seems, pretty quickly. I guess we're not the only ones getting a little tired from being up and streaming for like 12 hours in a row now. TMN is a noob.
Who is that?
He asked for a shout out. That was the best I could do.
By the way, here's a great example of the fact of how certain memes will just never die. Like someone on Twitter has messaged me and they said, SK probably don't want to just give away all their new tactics, so they are playing very scrimmy style CS. They always do. Like that's kind of what you say about a team who's just not good at tactics. Because teams who are really good at tactics and have practiced them all, like keep doing the tactics so that they execute them really well. They don't like hide them, and then it's not like Karate Kid where you save your like fucking ultimate killing move till like the last minute so you can like trick the bad guy. You already know what a team's going to bring into a game, so that's kind of like nonsense that people still say that shit.
Yeah, plus if you're really good strategically, you don't have to use like you don't have to use your best, let's say, the execution on the round, but if you can just play like do your standard stuff and work off your picks, which SK should be able to considering how good their individual skill level is, like you have nothing to hide if you just play default-ish.
Oh, apparently there's an interview with GetRight on the HLTV.org site, so I'll have to watch that later. I do like the way Khan repeatedly reminds us how many